is no redress in the act of killing your own citizens.
Because they keep doubling down.
They knew this was a plan.
90% of it, though, is about what you can actually do.
This shot will give you life, and if you don't, it gives you death. And this is the point. People who don't have God in their lives are afraid to die. And so, of course, they're going to run.
And even stranger, they're also afraid to live.
Morning, Todd. How are you?
Yeah, well, okay. On a solemn occasion, I'm trying to look at the death of our pal Warner Mendenhall as a celebration. It's a little bit hard because it's new information. My God, what a warrior! And today, talk about an all-star crew of people coming together, truth be told, to celebrate his life, remember him, and really, at the end of the day, what he stood for and why we're all in this fight. So I'm joyful in part and sad in another part, but happy Wednesday nonetheless.
I'm wearing black for mourning, and then I'm wearing green for life because he stood for, preserving life, and my sparkles because he just loved life, and he should be here with us. And so we're going to try to share some tributes to him, and there's plenty more that people can say. So we miss you, Warner. We miss you.
Yeah, we miss you and we honor you. So we'll get to that and the rest of the crew that can share their thoughts and feelings on it. I'm going to do the monologue of duh today. That's what I've called it because it's now so apparent. It's in front of all of us. We've got so many examples to show exactly what Warner actually died for. Yeah. So we'll go through that and hopefully it'll shake some trees and get people to understand the paradigm so we can all come together and defeat it.
Thank you, Todd.
Yeah, thank you, Jamie, to the rest of the crew, and especially you folks out there, right? Warner, myself, everybody else, everybody that's in this fight is doing it for the love of humanity, for the love of you. And by sharing these thoughts, by sharing these podcasts, most importantly, the information we provide you in the show notes is proof positive that we have the ability to take our country back, as is evidenced by the fact that we are still here. That was not the plan. We are and have been marked for extinction, humanity, our species, and yet we persist. Why? Because at the end of the day, this is our realm, and we have so poorly abdicated to others to do our thinking. What did we expect would happen by giving others free reign over our money, free reign over our governance, free reign over our decision-making? What would we possibly expect otherwise? And so we are left today with the monologue of duh. So we're going to get into it, and I hope that you share it, because sometimes you have to hit people over the head to go, hey, have you figured out yet? So here's the good Dr. Schoon. I admire this guy for coming up with the means by which to cure cancer using peptides and other such technologies that we now understand. The FDA is telling docs you can't use peptides. I wonder why. He finally gets it. Go ahead, Doc.
We have in our body a gene called P53. That actually prevents cancer from occurring. Elephants have 8 P53s. That's why elephants don't get cancer.
Wow. Did not know that.
So you could be an elephant and you'd be fine. Guess what COVID does? It knocks down P53.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, no.
We're about to publish that. Dr. Carlos Cardone and I have done the work. It knocks down P53. And if you have any latency, and so, therefore, it's what I consider no different from HPV, which causes cancer with the latent period of once you have HPV, 5, 10 years. Now we are seeing for the first time in America head and neck cancer from HPV exceeding that of cervical cancer.
Oh.
So I just tweeted about 4 or 5, now 6 patients with head and neck cancer in our clinic, and we're about to start now a randomized trial in head and neck cancer, where we're getting responses 6 out of 6.
Yeah, let me be clear about this. They deleted the gene that he speaks about. They also included 3 HIV proteins in the shots to disarm your natural immunity. On top of that, be on the lookout, 1p36 gene deletion syndrome. If you look around, you'll find there are CAT scans, x-rays, MRIs showing people's frontal cortex is actually missing. Why? Because the shots had gene deletion programming in them. Go figure. It's a plan. It always has been. Here's another one. Alex Palantir. The guy says, thank you very kindly, yeah, my program is designed to kill people. Oh, really? So AI that you developed is designed to kill people. It's now fully integrated into the DOW's computers. That's just the DOW's computers. He's selling it all over the planet, sold it to other countries before he sold it to the US. And then we wonder why it is that AI is an ever-present threat. It is designed to kill people. That includes us, another duh moment. And you might not know this. Our federal government requires that you use AI if you work for them. I wonder why that is. How about the European Union? We're watching the European Union fall apart. Why? Because it was a stupid idea. When I was in law school back in the 90s, I studied EU law. It was nascent. All these states were supposed to give up their sovereignty, give up their economies of scale, give up their currencies in furtherance of this great giant union of unelected officials who were going to reign over them. No accountability whatsoever. And here we are, 30-some years later, and what do we see? The thing falling apart because it is eating itself. Yeah, Margaret Thatcher said it right. Socialism is great, so you run out of other people's money. That's right where we're at. Other people's money. The EU has no accountability. It's not their money. They don't care. They're going to spend your money. To European nations who are thinking about leaving, leave. Get it over with. Italy should start first, followed by Greece and every other country. The United Kingdom was at least smart enough to keep control over their own currency. I wonder why. How did they get away with that? Because they're smart. That's why they probably planned it all out. Anyway, how about the Chinese truth about the destruction of the United States? And this guy, when you get to the right segment, there's 34 seconds in, this Chinese guy's going to tell us like it is. Even the Chinese know the truth.
With you after we watch it together.
Skip forward to 34 seconds, if you wouldn't mind, Jamie.
They rob you blind, and you thank them for it. That's a tragedy. That's a scam. That's why I'm saying this right now. Americans, you don't need a tariff. You need a revolution. For decades, your government and oligarchs who ship your job to China, not for diplomacy, not for peace, but to exploit cheap laborers. And in the process, they hollowed out your middle class, crushed your working class, and told you to be proud while they sold your future for profit. And yes, China made money, but we used it to build roads, lift millions out of poverty, fund healthcare, raise living standard. We reinvested in our people. My family also benefited from it. What did your oligarchs do? They bought yachts, private jets, mansions with golf course driveways. They manipulate the market, dodged tax, and poured billions into endless wars. And you get stagnated wages, crippling healthcare costs, cheap dopamine, debt, and flagged wave poverty made in China while they pick your pocket. For 40 years, both China and the United States benefit from the trade, the manufacturing, but only one of us use that wealth to build. This isn't China's fault. This is yours. You let this happen. You let the oligarchs feed you lies while they made you fat, poor, and addicted. Now they blame China for mess they made. I don't think so. I don't think you need another tariff. You need to wake up. You need to take your country back. I think you need a revolution.
Yeah, how about that? You know, people are the same the world over, and I so much appreciate that guy. And Chinese generally, I love Chinese people. And he's right. The PRC has done exactly as he said. I will tell you, I hate communism with every fiber in my being, and there are elements of communism throughout. The government owns all the companies. And what are we looking at in the United States? Our government taking equity positions in companies, particularly tech companies like AI and data centers. How could that go wrong? Oh, duh. Here's another duh moment. This one's funny, and the one behind it's funny. And we wonder how we got here. This is a wake-up call for this lady.
I'm standing on the train, and look at all these men. What happened to giving up your seat for women? No man offered me a seat. Excuse me, are you going to get up?
What?
Are you going to get up?
Are you pregnant?
No.
Are you for equality?
Yes.
And fuck off.
Sorry, that is funny. And the next one's funny. It does show that people are the same the world over. It doesn't matter culture or the country. People are the same, and this is what people are saying, and we wonder why the effects are what they are. This one's also funny. Play the taxi cab driver.
آقا ببخشید میشه موزیک رو قطع کنی؟
موزیک رو قطع کنم واسه چی؟
واسه که موسیقی حرامه ببخشید.
حرامه؟ کی گفته؟
زمان پیغمبر مگه موسیقی بود آقا؟
زمان پیغمبر موسیقی نبوده؟ خب پس بفرم پیاده شو.
چرا؟
زمان پیغمبر ماشین هم نبوده، پیاده شو با 3 تا شتر بیاد.
He didn't catch that. She wants him to turn off the music. He says, why? She says, because Mohammed didn't have such music in his time. He said, we didn't have cars either. Get out. And now the finality, President Trump going beast mode. This is what we all loved about President Trump speaking the truth, not the wishy-washy crap, not other people doing your thinking for you. This is fabulous. Go, man, go.
That they're rigged. You know that I won an election in a landslide, and I got 94% bad press.
But, Mr. President,
you know why I got that? Because you have no credibility.
But you've never presented evidence that it was rigged. Let's keep talking about. I want to talk about Todd.
You have more evidence. There's more evidence than ever presented.
Let's talk
your
about
elections in this country. We're like a third world country.
But, sir,
your elections are crooked, and you're crooked, and Meet the Press is crooked, and so is ABC and CBS and CNN.
But, Mr. President,
you're one-sided crooked networks. All right, let's call it quits because I've had enough. Thank you, darling. Have a good time.
Mr. President, let's please. I traveled all the way to Wisconsin.
I've sat in the rain with you.
I know.
I've sat in the rain with you for an hour, on and off in the rain, and I've given you enough time. You ought to straighten out your press because you know what?
Mr. President,
a country can never be great with a dishonest press.
We traveled all the way to Wisconsin for this interview.
See, he said it. The most important words, I love the fact that he crushed the microphone. That's better than a mic drop. Just crush the microphone. He said it. You can't have a country with dishonesty. You're never going to move forward. It's exactly right. It's the business we're in, is in the truth business. And today, to memorialize one of the truth tellers, God's noble warrior, Warner Mendenhall, we've got a star team here, all of whom are also noble warriors. Brad, we've got Brook Johnson, Brad Geyer, by the way, good friend, lawyer. Brook Johnson, who was part of Warner's team to try and take down the shots. Cece, as usual, Dr. Nanda, Dr. Vliet is going to join us. Jamie and John Davidson. It's kind of like an all-star team. I am so happy you all are here. Noble warriors all. And the spirit we saw there with President Trump is the reason we're all here, right? We're the same mindset, and I'm so honored to have you here. Thanks for being here. This is about Warner and sharing thoughts and things of that nature. So, Jamie, you put this together. Carry it on. God bless you all.
Well, before we start, we're going to just watch a little bit of a tribute that Carolyn made, and then we'll get right into it. And Dr. Lee.
Love it.
So let's go with that. Hold on.
Sorry, I said Brook Jackson is what I would say. Sorry about that, Brook.
That's okay.
There we go. Sorry about that. I just want to make it big. It's beautiful.
There you go. Good looking guy.
To be my sunshine after the rain. It's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday. And I'll take with me the memories to be my sunshine after the rain. It's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday. It's so hard to say goodbye, to take with me the memories, to be sunshine after the rain. It's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday. And I'll take with me the memories to be my sunshine after the rain. It's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday. Memory.
That was really beautiful. Did you put that together, Jamie?
No, this is Carolyn.
Carolyn, wow. Cece, nicely done. Okay. So with that, everybody here knew him. So Jamie, what did you have in mind? People sharing their thoughts? How does this go?
Yes. Well, I wanted Dr. Vliet to speak first. I don't know if I can't see her picture, but if she's on, she could speak first. Otherwise, John, I think you knew him, one of the best, also most recently, and worked with him. So maybe you can kind of choreograph all this, and you guys just chime in and talk. It's like a round table here. So I'm gonna let you guys talk. Dr. Vliet, are you there?
Well, yes, I'm here. Thank you, Jamie.
Yay.
We can't see you.
Give us a few words. I know that when you were told, you were just.
I see the picture on the screen. Can you see it?
No, but we see your name.
We hear you. So go ahead and talk, honey.
Well, I just wanted to thank you for doing this. It's such a devastating loss, not only to all of us who knew Warner and worked with him personally on many of the medical freedom fronts. And he and I worked closely on medical legal issues for many cases. And he was our legal advisor for Truth for Health Foundation. It's been 5 years that we have worked closely together. And it's a personal loss and a loss for the foundation and all of the people that we worked with him. But it's also a loss not only for the country, but for the world, because Warner was an inspiration for other countries, lawyers who were litigating in their countries to stop the COVID crimes against humanity. And he really inspired legal efforts around the world, as Todd has done also. But what was interesting was the fact that one of the conversations Warner and I had early on, and this was after I had only known him about a year and a half, and he said, I didn't expect this, but I have litigated at that time. It's more since. At that time, he said, I have litigated in 12 different areas of law. They were not my specialty, but people were desperate and lawyers were not standing up. And I just felt like I couldn't be silent. And I agreed with him because that was how I felt in medicine. I was not going to let patients die on my watch if there was anything I could do. Infectious disease was not my specialty, but I figured I better just learn everything I could to do what I could to help people medically. And Warner and I and Todd and I separately worked tirelessly on the hospital homicide situation with the COVID death protocol, trying to save people in the hospital when they were withholding fluids and food and basic medicines, and were pushing the ventilators and remdesivir over people's consent. It was devastating. And I couldn't do it medically alone, but the lawyers needed the medical help of someone who could say, no, this is what they should be doing, this is what they're not doing. And we just have had an incredible team effort over the last 5 years. And I feel like I've been kicked in the gut by him. Talked with Warner 4 days before he went to the ICU on that Friday. He had called me that Sunday afternoon, and he was so optimistic, as he always was. He was so optimistic. He felt he'd gotten the cancer controlled. He was looking forward to the future, and he had some recent complications, and that's beyond what we are talking about today. But he shared a lot with me about what he'd just been through, and he felt so positive. It was just devastating to learn from John in a text message that before we'd even reached a week after that conversation. So my heart goes out to his wife and his family and his staff and everyone who loved him. There was no one like Warner. He also was the foundation's lawyer in a very difficult lawsuit that Todd also advised on. And Warner was here in the U.S. He took it forward, had a very successful outcome for us, and was just such an incredible friend, colleague, experienced expert lawyer, and a warrior for us, as well as for all the people that he and I worked with together as clients. And I remember when Scott Scher contacted us for help, and obviously we needed legal help. I reviewed the medical records, but for his daughter Grace, but I talked with Todd about it. I called Warner, and Warner immediately agreed to step in and meet with us and decide whether to take on the case. And early on, we worked closely together on that case, providing the medical support for his legal framing. So it was a special relationship, an incredible human being, optimistic, always looking positive, a warrior, and a man of quiet but very deep faith. And I was privileged to share many conversations about how our faith was guiding us in this work in the battle against evil. So thank you for doing the tribute today, Jamie, and thank you for having me. It's such a privilege to have worked with him.
Thank you.
Beautiful, Doc. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. John, do you want to go next and tell us a little bit what you've been doing recently with?
I'm having trouble hearing you.
Okay. All right, John, why don't you speak?
So we did a show Monday right after it was announced.
Maybe I should go out and come back in.
Yeah, you should do that. Jamie, pull her out maybe,
okay,
in case she needs a little help. So we worked together on a show called Freedom Council. We try to do it every Monday at 2, and I made friends with Warner after he saw my movie and heard me speak on something. I think Jamie heard me speak the same thing, and I was dropping all this strategy for Trump in terms of hiring secretaries and things like that. And he really liked it, and he called me up, and I'm like, where have all you lawyers been for the last 4 years? And I guess we've been here working, man. So we had a fun friendship. He made me go to a convention in Vegas a couple weeks later. That's where I met Brook and Texas Lindsay, and I'd already worked with Mary Bowden, but I met her in person there too. And he pushed me to go to the Denver event in 2024, and that was ironically 2 years ago to the day he died. Mm-hmm. And he played my movie there, which was, I think, pretty much the only event that actually, well, there was the hospital homicide in Houston that played it too. Mm-hmm. He was just a good guy. He found all these little rough nuts and dug us out and planted seeds out of us. And I think, like with Ryan in Arizona, I think Todd, you're working with him some. Yeah. We have all these little things that he was involved in that we'll be doing more shows with over the next year or two, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. And we're just going to keep finding them. There's I didn't know about a case that he was working on in California, and I talked to him pretty regularly. I don't want to overstate my relationship with Warner. I'm sure Brook, yours went back a lot farther and was also very close, and Brad, Todd, you guys all, Carolyn, and everybody had their own relationship with him, and he made all of us feel special.
Yes.
And that was what was such a amazing thing about him, that he could reach to people in other walks of life. Maybe, I got a straight C in college and it was a comm arts degree, but he could still talk to me. And we had great conversations. It was always fun when Warner called. He just made you feel good and felt hope about what was going on, even when we have a judiciary that's completely insane. We have a legal industry that is
yeah, that's a good word.
That's maybe it's not justice.
Predatory.
It's either filled with cowardice or people who just want to run from responsibility. And he was not that guy. He was like a cowboy, right? He swaggered into court, I'm sure, every time.
He called himself a hustler.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's why you met him in Vegas. That makes sense now.
he could always make deals and get things done. He knew how to just talk to people and work things out. He wanted to stay friends with just about everybody, even if he didn't agree with them, because a lot of times he could be an intermediary to try to restore some infighting. Because if you guys haven't noticed, we're a pretty ragtag band of crazy people.
Speak for yourself, John.
Yeah, well, I am. And I told Brad yesterday, I was like, Warner left us with all the damn Fruit Loops. He knew how to build bridges, and blessed are the peacemakers, and that was definitely Warner.
I used to ask Warner, John, and maybe Todd and Brad can answer this, because I used to ask him, how can you keep practicing law and trying to go after these criminals when it seems like you never win? How do you keep doing it?
Well, that's not true. He actually only lost about 5 cases. Maybe 6, including the Scher trial. And
right. And that was a surprise. I know I was there for the last 5 days.
I do want to answer that, Brooke.
Thank you.
It's the same reason you're here, because nobody else will.
Yeah.
Nobody else is coming to our rescue. You stepped up. Everybody here stepped up because others would not. That's why.
Yeah.
When God makes his angels on earth, you know that, right? And, each one of us, however we met. John, I met you back in 22 on that island. Oh my God. That was okay. You're right. It was crazy. But each one of us at CC and the hospital homicides, Brad, I met you, who knew you like Bollywood, anyway, and Jamie as well. And can I share that photo? Would that be okay?
Sure.
That's,
might have to get Jamie to do it. We've run into share screen issues on Restream before. Oh, look at that. Good on you.
That was when we lost power at the original spot and scrambled to find a new place.
Yeah.
In a couple hours. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there's CC.
And
we got a rental truck, remember? We got
Yeah.
What a good looking bunch of people.
It was kind of amazing. And I got to meet everybody there. I got to meet with Warner. And you're right, John. He had that way to pull you in. Now, I'm more of the comedic relief, right, Jamie? That's right.
Is that what that was?
That's right.
Oh, my gosh. Now I get it.
Right. And he comes up to me. He's like, you're so funny. And I said, but you're like riveted on every word. Everything he says, you're like, what? What is he doing now? And there was just so many little aspects of his life. And he just, like you said, he just brought it to us very, very matter-of-factly, like everybody, whether you're the C student or the A student, whether you're the plumber or the CEO, he had that with him, that he could talk to everybody and then bring him in. And anyway, and that's how I get to talk to Brad over here. So Brad, what was your 2 cents worth?
So, as you know, there was a very small group of people who from 2020 were
Mhm.
all over this, and you ended up in your very narrow circles. Usually you'd
Mhm.
find somebody who thought like you
Mhm.
after many failed attempts and people just cutting you off. And I met Werner, I guess he was forming up Freedom Council, and we were trying to do something to help build the support,
Mhm.
grassroots support underneath a lot of the advocates. And I sort of viewed my role as more of a coordinator than being some guy who was out front, because we had guys like Werner who were way more handsome than me, even though the guy was older than me. We had that inside joke going forever, that he was 3 years older than me, but he looked 20 years younger. We shared a love of nicotine. So I worked with him for a couple years before I actually saw him in physical presence. And of course, before that, it was Brook asked, "How is it that you do this?" Well, you have to be. It's one part delusional. It's one part, like Todd said, that you feel like you have no choice. No one else is doing it, and you're wondering, like, all these people that came before me are founders. All these kids, future generations, like you're under some kind of an obligation. But you're taking these cases that are like impossible. You're putting money out on them. You're like, I'm never going to get this back. And so a lot of my how I really got to know Werner is about 11 or 12 o'clock at night. I'd text him or he'd text me, and either he or I would say, "Can you pick up the phone?" In case I'm sleeping next to my wife, or he's with, can you get out of the room so I don't wake up your wife when I call? And then we would have all those discussions about, like, everything that you guys are having discussions about. And it just was all, and as it is now, it's all there's a good part of it is you have to go and basically fight and try to change things in your day-to-day physical activities. But you know that there's somebody over here to your right who's doing the same thing. You have object permanence. So if you go a couple weeks or a couple months without talking to somebody, that's kind of how it has to work. There just aren't that many of us. The guy was, gravitas, just oozed gravitas. Every word was the right word to use. There was never a word wasted. He was reliable. He was trustworthy. He was a man of his word. He would never panic. He was always calm under fire, and somebody who I could call if the world was coming in on me, I'd call Werner, and he'd talk me. I talk him off the ledge. He'd talk me off the ledge. Really, he's just a great American, and I hold him in the highest regard. He was impeccable ethically, super bright legal mind. We trade drafts back and forth. We churned and burned so many theories that just didn't pan out. But we were constantly working it, and he was just the greatest all around, the most wonderful guy to spend any time with. Like, just if you want to have dinner with somebody, he was the guy,
Or whiskey.
Or whiskey. Oh yeah, no, we did that too. Had a crazy island where he hung out with his crazy brothers, with all these, and going back and forth to his house. His wife was fun. Just the greatest guy. And he really, I'm sorry to say, he probably, the stress and everything of the last 5 years minimum, more than that, really. Boy, we're 2026, 6 years, and he was just constantly in the red line.
Yeah,
constantly in the red line. Like, I'd be like, dude, how are you going to that? Like, didn't you just come back from here? I'm like, the guy was a phenom.
He was. He was so easy to talk to, not just on business and case level, but I could call him when I'm having one of my many emotional breakdowns, as Brad knows. And I remember one time he just so calmly said, and I was going through my Facebook and I saw I posted what I quoted him on my Facebook. It was November 6th, 2023. And he said, Carolyn, life is not about comfort. It's about sacrificing for others. Sacrificing isn't fun, but you know in your heart you're doing the right thing. And I remember him saying that to me, and it just totally got me out of my complete mental breakdown.
Pity party, no pity party, right?
Yeah, Brad and I started interviewing victims early 2021, and every day I'd spend all day just trying to find attorneys. And how many attorneys are there in this country? And it was just slam, PrEP Act, COVID, nope, and then Warner drops, from heaven, literally in our lap, and we just became really good friends. And I remember going to Beaumont to watch him in action at Brook's case, and we all went to Cajun food afterwards, and just sitting outside of events and around fireplaces having drinks, and he was just, I'm gonna break down crying again. Wonderful person.
Yeah.
I was able to dig up this quote, and you guys, when I asked you kind of what keeps you going as attorneys, as clients, plaintiffs, just average everyday people, this is what Warner said. And I'm sorry, I wrote it down because I didn't want to mess it up because it's Warner. But on what keeps you going, he says, and I quote, I don't keep going because I believe in the system. I keep going because I believe in the people watching this fight, parents, patients, professionals. So many of us are waking up and asking the hard questions, and that's where the real change starts, end quote. So that's just, that was Warner,
You know what I love about all of that in these words is his thirst for life. Right, people go through life, and I don't know if you saw in the very beginning, we run a little piece from Charlie Kirk, and who said it also. People are afraid to live.
Yes,
man. And Brad, when you said he was redline all the time, because he was drinking down every last second, every last experience available to him. He lived 10 lives for what most people live in one. And I find that to be extraordinarily inspiring. I really do. That it puts me to shame in some respects, because I could do more based on what that guy did. I can't. How he was able to do as much litigation all at the same time as he did blows my mind, because people that don't know, litigation's intensive. Brad, you're probably the best suited here because you have as many cases as he did. I don't know how you do it, but his red line is a great example. It's that thirst for life that I find so inspiring. Thank you for asking that question, Brooke.
Yeah, and that's why I loved, his idea. I'm sure there were more people involved in this kind of idea that he had, but with Freedom Council, what a great idea to have, a central place for the attorneys to go to, share your experiences, share your briefs, what's working, what's not working. And when he shared this vision with me, I thought, wow, like that's pretty amazing. And hopefully Freedom Council, I'm not certain of everything that's going on right now, but hopefully that continues and it grows, and we're able to get more victories. I mean, it's not like these cases are meritless, that are being brought. It's really you're up against.
Well, they're so meritorious that we can't get our day in court. Jamie, I don't know how many, remdesivir cases you're just a Goliath in this, along with your colleagues, including Brad and Cece and everybody else. It's not an issue as to whether they're meritorious. It's whether the murderer is going to hold themselves accountable. That's the paradigm.
And how can we expect that?
Yeah.
I think we can learn a lot from Warner, and all we talked about here today. He was so inspirational. He would talk to anybody and everybody and give you his full attention. So it didn't matter who it was. It could be somebody sitting on the side of the street. If somebody had an idea, he'd look at you and he'd talk to you and he'd listen to you. And I'd be walking around the supermarket sometimes talking to him on the phone, brainstorming an idea about a case. And he just, like Brad said, at 11 o'clock at night, 2 in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, didn't matter. He was ready to go. And I remember that event you were talking about, Dr. Nanda, where you were very, very funny. And we had this whole panel up on stage. I think it was in one of the pictures. And I was right next to Warner. And I was like, thank God I'm going before him because I can't go after this guy. First of all, because he talks. But also because what he says, everyone sits there and every word, and they cannot wait to hear what he has to say. But you know what? He was amazing because after I spoke, he actually brought in something I had said because he wanted to give me that pat on the back, not just take attention for himself. Amazing.
Yeah, that was at Halt Hospital Homicide 2, and he wanted to be at Halt Hospital Homicide 1, but it was the exact same day as he was having a huge attorney event. So what he did was like, I want to be zoomed in. So we zoomed him in at the end, and so we had a room of 550 victims, and then a room remotely of hundreds of attorneys, and all brought together because of his idea. You know, it was incredible.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he described his luring style as you know, he compared it to playing soccer. He was a soccer player forever. He had his old man's league.
Wow.
You know, he wasn't the player that was, you know, always interested in scoring the goal. He was a passer, right? He would pass the ball, defend it, whatever. So that's the way that he described the way that he
does luring. That makes sense. He has the team. He passes and he's like, okay, what do you think this idea? What do you think that idea? And then he brings it all together. That's wow. Nice.
He did that once. He just been good. Like, I think it was in like 3 states in 2 days or something. And he had a big deposition to take the next day. And he was just exhausted and he had a headache, but he wanted to know, what did the people, the victims, want to know? Because he was, you know, going to depose this pretty high up guy. And so he called me and I'm like, well, I'll ask the group. I'm on Stop the Shots, a community of 5,000, you know, vax injured people. What do we want to know? And I stayed up all night long with 2 other people. And I said, just get some rest. And we're going to come up with some questions and things that, you know, we want to know, the people want to know. And by the time I pulled an all-nighter, by the time he woke up, I'd sent him 19 pages of questions.
Wow.
And he was like, you saved my ass.
Wow. Cool, Cece.
And I'm
Nicely
like,
done.
So then I stayed up the rest of the day because I was like, give me a play-by-play every time, you know. And it was pretty.
What's happening now? What's going on here?
He involved the victims. He involved the people, and it meant a lot to them.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny you say that because I'm looking at Brook thinking that you were a plaintiff, but you were actually kind of working like Cece is. What I'm trying to say is you weren't just that. You were so actively involved, not just in this, in a lot of other cases like Cece. I mean, you got incorporated into the process more than just, you know, airing your grievances. You were seeking accountability in a very real way, not sitting back. That's what I love about all of you. I'm honored to be amongst you because every one of you, we could be saying a lot of the same things. So I really admire that. And I think Warner was very inspirational, but I find all of you just to be the same.
Well, today, just to let you know, Todd, after I leave there, so I've got a few patients to see, but this afternoon I have to give testimony to the Republican Party of Texas for legislative priorities to ban the mRNA shot.
Nice.
So that's what I'll do.
Nice. Yeah, you get the clap for that. Not a golf clap, a real one. Yeah, good job.
That's today. So I've got a lot on my plate today. So
well, thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, Texas politics is something else.
I would love to hear, John, you always have such an interesting perspective on things and you make me laugh. I think half the time because I'm shocked at what comes out of your mouth. I'm curious if you have any wonderful anecdotal stories.
Keep it G-rated, John. Keep it G-rated. Okay?
No, we don't care. Say whatever you say. It's the best part. If you have any wonderful anecdotal, you know, stories about Warner that would be entertaining, I would love that.
You know, there was when he found out that he was sick, he called me. It was a couple of days before Christmas. And, you know, he's in the hospital and he's like, yeah, it's bad. They found a tumor. And he goes, John, none of us are getting out of here alive. I said, yeah, none of you are.
None of you are.
You are.
See, there you go. There's the John right there.
And you know, he even approached the cancer in a very matter-of-fact way. He's like, I'm going to throw everything at it from both sides of the equation So we don't talk about the alternative stuff, but he was definitely involved in a lot of that too.
Yeah.
Even once he got sick, he started using Graith Care, which is a patient advocacy service, and they were really, really helpful to him, and he wanted to make sure we did a show with them to highlight that service and to remind people like, hey, you don't just have to take exactly what the oncologist or the doctors say. You can also get second opinions, and they will help you. And even throughout his illness, he still wanted to do the show. He still wanted to fight the cases. Even when he couldn't really even walk that well, he was still on the phone. He was calling people. He still had the energy of spirit, even though his body was failing. And he loved his whiskey. He would call you from the porch with Kelly, and he would be having some nicotine and a bottle of whiskey, and of course, then you'd have to join him. So by the end, we're all crap faced.
Brook and I remember.
And it's just the funny thing is, I said this to Jeremy Friedman yesterday. I was like, do you want to call Warner and talk to him about his demise? like I want to be like, Warner, you won't believe what we've been going through. You died. Oh my gosh, it's been crazy. And I just keep expecting the phone to ring, and I'm like saving this conversation with him. I'm going to tell him all about this because he needs to hear about it. But I know that call's not coming, and I'm sad about it. But
I wanted to say this also, John, because you made mention just a second ago, as it relates to we're all going to die. He's in the hospital. Dr. Nanda, correct me if I'm wrong, but as I understand it, he didn't die of cancer. He died of medical malpractice. He died of a hospital homicide. Do I have that wrong?
I can weigh in on this because I got more details on it yesterday because I was, as soon as the doctors heard what it was, everybody's like livid, like how dare they not do paracentesis with that ultrasound and whatever else. But that's not exactly the case. The way it worked was Wednesday he had a draw done, and he specifically chose a doctor who was a little more aggressive with it to get out as much as they could. But so just to summarize, ascites is when you have fluid buildup in between the layers of the stomach, or that surrounds the organs. And when patients have cancer, especially late stage cancer, this fills with fluid, and it needs to be basically drained. And it's not exactly easy process. It can cause death. My father died after he had a draw done. So it does have its risks. But apparently when they did it on Wednesday, they nicked his bowels, and waste began to seep into his stomach. Thursday, he was feeling really bad. They wanted him to go in, but Warner, being a cowboy, was like, nah, I'm just going to stay here. I'm not going to go in. I don't want to deal with that. And by Friday night, it was emergency level. And that's, so the situation is, he wanted aggressive treatment on it. It does happen. You don't want to. It gave my father relief. It gave Warner relief for 6 months when he do these draws. I mean, they're like pulling out like 5 liters of fluid. It was a tremendous amount, like 10 pounds. Wow. So he needed it done, and you don't want to frighten hospitals from providing this to patients, because the alternative would be untold suffering. And they did use ultrasound when they did the draw. So yes, was it a mistake? Of sure. Was it compounded by his reluctance to go in and get it checked earlier? Sure. He had been, especially in the last 6 weeks, in a lot of pain. He couldn't do shows anymore, and he was going through the brain fog and things like that. So just
Brain
like with my
fog?
brain fog, yeah. So just like with my dad, I initially I was very upset, and I thought, well, maybe there was something to it, and I researched it, but then I learned, okay, you know what, this is a reality of this treatment, and nothing is without risk. He knew that. He knew the risks going in. I mean, I talked to him about what happened with my dad, ironically, just a couple of days before it happened to him. Wow. The benefit of him going out while he still had his mind and his spirit is that he did not wither like my father-in-law did, all the way down to 85 pounds.
Wow.
And that was a horrific death, and I'm grateful that Warner was spared that. But to the other end, it does appear that the treatments were reducing the size of masses in him, but at the same time, it had also metastasized to other organs and things like that. So, he was in as soon as he found out he had cancer, he knew just how far gone it was. I mean, I saw him in Austin in November, late October, November, and I was, I couldn't really even think about anything else. I was so shocked at his weight loss, and that's really all I wanted to talk to him about. Is like, what's going on? Because I just experienced both my father and father-in-law having cancer, so I was very aware that something wasn't right with him, and so a month and a half later, he finds out he has stage 4 cancer, and it's cancer is a horrible thing. And now we do know, and we're going to continue to pursue this, that these shots do suppress P53, and the NCI, National Cancer Institute, was covering it up. And I have a FOIA request that went out. I was the first one to ask for it, showing that the National Cancer Institute was suppressing studies in 2021, knowing that they didn't want people to know about it. And Aaron Siri has a lawsuit out against the National Cancer Institute for those records. They fully retracted 490 pages saying that they knew there was going to be risk. And it's not just the vaccine, it is the spike protein in both the vaccine and the disease. Now, I don't want to go too far into that, but the seed, like I said, the seeds Warner planted and helped grow are still there, and we're going to just have all this fruit from that effort that he was doing. And, maybe we'll find out that because he got COVID, I think right before the Scher trial, he'd had it like 3 times, if I'm not mistaken. So, to the original point, malpractice, more like a medical error, and with a lot of compounding issues to it. Because I was in that same place. I was like, hey guys, should we be investigating this? And it's not going to bring him back. I don't know if he'd want to pursue that, because he really appreciated that service that they were doing for him, because it gave him so much relief.
Wow. Thank you for that. That's really helpful. I appreciate it.
And I have a patient that you're just saying he's had 8 COVID shots. Yeah, 8. And at least 4 or 5 times he's had COVID, and he's got a brain tumor that they just removed. So, I don't know how much longer he has or not. So,
what Warner did say to me, he said, this has been the hardest, litigation and cases he's ever tried, but it's been the most rewarding. And of his life.
In April 2025, you did something with Warner. You did a crowd questioning instead of crowdfunding. And he said he had so much fun and he loved it. And I think that's something that we may want to pursue, having lawyers do like crowd questioning.
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about, that he woke up to 19 pages of questions. Everybody was emailing me, DMing, Facebook messaging, text messaging, and we're just gathering all these questions. And I was typing as fast as I could all night long. And
what is crowd questioning? What does that exactly entail?
People want to know.
He said, I have a text from him still saying, it was so much fun. The people want to do something. That's what he wrote.
Well, let's use that as a model. I mean, what a tribute to Warner. Let's use that as a model and drive it forward, because it goes also back to getting people invested in the outcome. And Brooke, you asked the question even before we came on the air, how do we take our government back? And the answer is everybody getting involved, personally involved, whether that's the school board, the city council, the county. Getting your sheriff elected is the single most important thing you can do, because they're the chief law enforcement officer of all the lands.
They have an incredible power that most people don't understand.
Yeah,
exactly. And there is no law without law enforcement. That's the key. And all law enforcement, believe it or not, is a local function. The feds stole it, and we can stop that. We can change it around. But I love the idea of the engagement, because people have to get invested. Invested means showing up. Invested means asking the questions because you're curious and doing something about it. So, thank you for being here and putting this tribute together. It is not by any means comprehensive enough to celebrate Warner and his life and what it is that he's done to make a difference in this world. I hope it's inspiring to others watching this that will share this as perhaps an example of what we should all be doing and how we should live our lives to the fullest. Red line, in the words of you, Brad, because the reality is this: life is terminal. Life is hazardous to your health. So you might as well go all in. Guys, thanks for being here.
Can I end us on a funny?
Yeah, go ahead.
We were, take us out. One of the things we've been kind of toying around with was an idea of like a COVID awards ceremony. And one of the things I said, Warner, you've already won something for it if we do it. He goes, what is it? And I said, it is the, let's see if I can.
I think I have it if you don't.
Yeah. Do you have it? It won't let me share it. Is essentially the Don Quixote Award.
Yeah. I just had the name. I didn't have the picture yet.
And he loved it so much. Jamie, I'll text it to you so you can show it. He actually AI generated several versions for us to choose from.
Oh wow!
And this was the one I think he liked the best. But
we keep fighting windmills. We keep fighting windmills.
We have to put like his face on the horseman though, with the little gap in his teeth, grinning really big. But yeah, that was he really loved that award. He's like, and I was even talking to someone Friday about trying to get that 3D printed for him. So it'll have to be posthumous, but I just texted it to you too, Jamie, if you want to pull that up.
Yeah, put it up and we'll
I'm trying.
that.
What were we going to call it? The Truthies Awards or something?
Yeah, that's something like that. So whatever can drive the mainstream media most rabid would be the best.
Well, I liked what
I think they've already won that. They're already most rabid. So
well, that's the truth. I loved the crushing the mic. That's a new standard that I think President Trump set. He's not dropping it; he's crushing it.
that was like a Seinfeld episode when he's like, when the iPhones came out, he's like, "What did you do? Just press the button really hard." I mean, just like you can't even drop the phone. So.
You can be able to do it, Jamie, because we're out of time.
No, I think I'll put in the show notes for everyone, so they'll have to all go.
Okay.
Put it in later. All right, guys. Thanks for being here, everybody. God bless you all.
You
and
too,
for
guys.
everybody watching, please share this around. The least we can do to honor Warner and everybody else's efforts because they're represented. Thanks for being here, everybody. God bless.
God bless Warner. God bless you. Bye-bye.